Hey, everyone, welcome back to our channel. Are you tired of pulling your hair out, trying to get Flexbox to work the way you want it to specifically? Have you ever wondered why Flexbox seems to be ignoring your width settings? Well, today we're going to dive into this exact question and explore the reasons behind this frustrating phenomenon. By the end of this video, you'll understand the underlying concepts that govern how Flexbox handles widths, and you'll know exactly what to do to take control of your layout. So, let's get started. Flexbox is an incredibly powerful tool for creating flexible and responsive layouts. However, it can also be quite finicky at times. One of the most common issues people run into when working with Flexbox is that their width settings seem to be getting ignored. But why does this happen? The key to understanding this lies in how Flexbox handles its main axis. When you create a Flex container, you define a main axis, which can either be horizontal or vertical. Now, by default, Flexbox tries to fit all of its items within the available space along this main axis. This is where things get interesting. When you set a width on an item inside a Flex container, what you're essentially doing is setting a maximum width for that item. However, if there's not enough space along the main axis to accommodate this width, Flexbox will automatically adjust it to fit within the available space. This adjustment can sometimes result in your width settings being seemingly ignored. But here's the important part: Flexbox doesn't actually ignore your width settings. It just adjusts them according to its own rules and priorities. One of these rules is that it tries to make all items equal in size along the main axis, unless you specify otherwise. So, what can you do to take control of this situation? Well, there are a few strategies you can use. Firstly, you can try setting a specific width on your Flex container itself, rather than just relying on the widths set on its individual items. This will give Flexbox a better idea of how much space is available along the main axis. Another approach you can take is to use the Flex Basis property instead of width. Flex Basis allows you to specify an initial width for your item, which Flexbox will then adjust according to its own rules. The difference between Flex Basis and width is subtle but important. While width sets a maximum width, Flex Basis sets a starting point from which Flexbox can make adjustments. Lastly, if all else fails, you can always try using the Flex Shrink property to control how much an item should shrink when there's not enough space along the main axis. By setting Flex Shrink to 0, for example, you're essentially telling Flexbox that this particular item should never be shrunk. So, what are the from today's discussion? Firstly, remember that Flexbox doesn't actually ignore your width settings. It just adjusts them according to its own rules and priorities. Secondly, setting a specific width on your Flex container can help give Flexbox a better idea of how much space is available along the main axis. Thirdly, using Flex Basis instead of width can be a good strategy for taking control of your layouts. And lastly, don't forget about the power of the Flex Shrink property. It can often get you out of sticky situations when working with Flexbox. That's all for today's video. We hope this explanation has helped clarify things for you and given you a better understanding of how to work with Flexbox. But if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future videos, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content on web development and design. We'll catch you all in the next one.